teacher and you are going to learn English with me. Our material today is about greetings and introductions. What is the first word you'll learn in English? Probably hello, right? Hello is the most basic way to greet people in English. There are many different ways to greet people and introduce yourself in English. In different situations, you will need different words and phrases to greet people or make introductions. I'll give you three types of greetings and introductions in English. The first is formal greetings and introductions. Imagine that you are on a business trip and you have to meet your clients for the first time. Or maybe you work in service, for example in hotel. In these situations, you will need to use formal language to talk to them. So here is the example of formal greetings and introductions. The dialogue uses more formal language. I will explain it to you. The first is when Jim started to say good morning. The greetings good morning, good afternoon, and good evening are quite formal and generally only used in formal situations. And the next is when Raymond asks Jim, and your name is. This is more formal than asking, what's your name? After he introduced himself, Jim said, very nice to meet you. Nice to meet you is neutral, but adding very makes it sound more formal. Jim introduced himself with a full sentence, my name is Jim. When speaking less formally, he would use a shorter introductions, like I'm Jim or just saying Jim. After Jim introduced himself, he said, welcome to London. Saying welcome itself is not so formal, it's neutral. But adding to and a place makes it more formal. And then Raymond's answer, very well, thank you. It also sounds quite formal than just say, well, thanks. By adding very and thank you will make it more formal. Finally, Raymond asked Jim, how are you back? He said, and yourself? This sounds more formal than just asking, and you? Then Jim replied, thanks for asking. You wouldn't say thanks for asking in an informal situation. So you have seen that small changes can make a big difference to how formal your language sounds. Remember that formality doesn't just depend on the word you use, but other things like the tone of your voice and your body language are also important. Now let's look at how to greetings and introductions in neutral way. The second is neutral greetings and introductions in English. Neutral means neither formal nor informal. For example, imagine that you are in a college and meet a new friend. You are at the same age and at the same department. This is a neutral situation when you don't want to be very formal and don't want to sound too casual. And here is the example of the dialogue. First, we can compare the dialogue to the formal one. They follow the same pattern, but this dialogue is much less formal. First, we started in neutral greeting, hello. We can use hello in any situations. Hello, what's your name? Sounds very simple, right? This is because neutral language is generally the simplest language. If you compare the two dialogues, you will see that the neutral dialogue is shorter than the formal dialogue. This is because the formal language is often longer and more complex than the neutral language. In neutral, we use the basic words and phrases that you probably have learned before, like nice to meet you, how are you, fine, thanks, and so on. Now, what about informal greetings and introductions? Informal greetings and introductions are useful when you know someone well or you are meeting someone in a casual situation. For example, when you're hanging out with some of your friends, then your friends introduce you to one of their friends, you will use the informal language. Let's see the example of the dialogue. The first thing you can see is that the dialogue is even shorter than the neutral dialogue.